What is love? Not the dictionary definition, not the scientific definition, not a strong feeling of affection. That's useless. I'm asking something much harder. What is actually happening inside us when we love? Because think about how strange it is. One day, somebody is a stranger. Then somehow, without noticing exactly when it happened, their name starts meaning something. A notification appears. You look at it differently. A story comes up in conversation. You remember it. A song plays. There's a memory attached to it now. Nothing about the song changed. You did. And that's where love gets weird. Because it doesn't simply add a person to your life. It starts changing the meaning of things that were already there. But maybe that's not love. Maybe that's attachment. After all, humans get attached to all sorts of things. Places, objects, routines, memories. So, why does losing a person feel fundamentally different? Maybe because a person isn't just something we remember. A person can become part of the way we understand ourselves. Who was I before I met you? Who did I become while knowing you? And who am I now? That's a much scarier question, because perhaps that's why some relationships leave such a strange emptiness behind. Not because another human being was literally holding a piece of you, but because your life had developed around their existence. And then there's attraction. We often confuse attraction with love, because they're capable of producing the same ridiculous symptoms. You can't stop thinking. Everything suddenly feels exciting. One conversation gets replayed 20 times. A 5-minute interaction somehow becomes the highlight of your entire week. But attraction is fascinated by possibility. Love eventually has to deal with reality, and reality is less glamorous. People get tired. Arguments happen. Misunderstandings happen. The novelty disappears. You discover flaws that weren't visible at the beginning. The fantasy slowly gets replaced by an actual human being. And that's where the question changes. At the beginning, how do you make me feel? Later, can I accept who you actually are? That's a completely different kind of feeling. But even that isn't enough, because love can become possessive. Fear can disguise itself as love. Need can disguise itself as love. Loneliness can disguise itself as love. Sometimes what sounds like, "I can't live without you," isn't necessarily the greatest expression of love. It might simply mean, "I've become terrified of losing what you give me." And those aren't the same thing. Which brings us to one of the strangest ideas about love. Love and possession are almost opposites. To possess something is to say, "This is mine." To love a person is to eventually confront the fact, "This person is not mine." They have an entire inner world I'll never completely know, thoughts I'll never hear, experiences I'll never experience, a future I can't control, and somehow I can still care. Maybe that's part of what makes love beautiful and terrifying, because love is also a gamble. The moment something genuinely matters, you've created the possibility of losing it. That's the price. You can't make yourself completely invulnerable and still experience deep connection. And maybe that's why people sometimes run from love, not because they don't want connection, because they understand the other side of it. If it matters, it can hurt. And yet humans keep doing it, again, and again, and again, knowing perfectly well how badly it can end. So maybe love isn't happiness. Maybe it isn't butterflies. Maybe it isn't even commitment. Maybe those are all different pieces of something much larger. Perhaps love is the moment another consciousness becomes significant enough that their existence changes the way your own existence feels. And maybe that's why no definition ever seems quite right, because we're trying to describe something that isn't just happening inside your head. It's happening between two lives, two histories, two completely different people, two worlds, briefly overlapping. And maybe the most honest answer to what is love isn't a definition at all. Maybe it's simply, I don't completely understand it, but somehow your existence matters to mine. And maybe that's enough.
Question your thinking.